All right. So I am going to share After Effects and go through really quickly a similar process. I thought I'd shake things up a little bit though. So here's After Effects. All right. So I am going to open. So these are the same projects that we worked on today. Here is the second project. And right now the background is turned off, which is good because I actually want to get another background rather than the same person. And I put something in video. So again, just a reminder here. Let's see if you see it. I don't think you do. Okay, so here, now you should see it. You should see that there is, let me get rid of this, when I went to, let me hit cancel. When I go over here to the project panel on your left, you can right click and say import. Here's the shortcut, Command I, Control I on a PC, or double click in the gray area. And that will bring up this import. Then we're looking at our file structure. So here's the whole project, everything that's in it. In this case, it's going to be project After Effects project files, stuff like these AEPs. Don't worry about the logs right now. And there's going to be a central folder for all the media types, video, audio, and stills. And I just added video. And then when we get to the point of exporting, we'll export these various versions. And some of them will not be visible or not be playable by default on some systems, but that's just fine. They're using high-end codecs, and that's good. So I wanted to add this. I just downloaded this from pexels.com, a legal public domain and other kind of footage place. So this is the background image that we had, and I want to use a different image to frame this. So I'm going to grab this video, drag it down here, and let me reduce it in size. I'm just going to do this in the timeline here. Hit S for scale, and that's fine. And maybe I'll put these on the other side here. So I'm going to actually get rid of all these. We're just going to build this again from scratch and come through a few different considerations. So I just selected those layers, and this is the shot here. This is actually 4K, downloaded for free, and I think I'm going to go, I'm going to do, since it is 4K, I'll use some of the benefits of 4K. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger, hold shift, and I'll put it over to the right. See if I can do this a little bit more. Okay, so kind of just cheating it over so I have enough room here on the right. The most powerful point of any screen is the top left. That's where we start from, at least in the Western cultures. And then the most powerful ending point, because video often has motion and action that we follow and track, is ending up in the bottom right. So I'll just put it there. So for this, we're going to make two. Let me make sure that I have, turn on my mouse pose. That's my little teaching assistant stuff here. Come on, mouse pose. Where are you? Keystrokes are on. Okay, so cool. There they are. So there's F, D, it's S. Okay, you see it down on the bottom there. So you can see my keystrokes. All right, so Command Y in After Effects, Command Y. And here's 100 by 100. All right, so there's that little box. We're putting this on, and I'm dragging it over here. And let me turn on my lower third, not my lower thirds, my visual guide here, my title and action safe. And so this is where we want all the titles to be in. I might have to make this even a little bit bigger, this 4K shot. This is HD that we're inside of. I can look at that in a second. This should be better framing, maybe a little bit even. I'm going to cheat it even a little bit bigger. Oh my goodness. Okay, cool. And I'm going to stay, come on now. I'm going to stay here. I have this selected. I'm going to stay so that this box is inside of here, and I'll lower the opacity, hit T, bring opacity down a little bit. I'm down to, what is it, 60, 50 for this orange. Yeah, something like that. And I'm going to pick up a color here that's in the screen somewhere. Not always that useful, really. It is kind of cool that you can do it, but you know, sometimes it's better to kind of correspond and somehow relate to the colors that are there or contrast with them. I'll just leave this for right now. I am going to add a text layer, and then I'm going to tie these two together with the properties of parenting. I showed that in the end. I just want to do that again here at the beginning. So Command T gets me into the text tool mode. Now I'm going to I'm going to write this Johnny Lightning Edging. Johnny Lightning is this guy's name, but he's more of a reporter, and so it's not as script-y, and it's certainly not like that, you know, and it's not like a lot of things, but it is, you know, it's not boring, but it is more authoritative. So this could already be work. This is Marion. This can't, you know, so there's some really weird ones I have. You know, I want something that is more stronger. I might just go back to a favorite standby of mine, which is Impact. I don't know why I like it so much, but you know, this is nice as well. But let's see. Okay, this works for me. This is Myriad Pro, and I am going to use this font as an authoritative, trustworthy, believable kind of approach. All right, and then we'll see if we come here and maybe also reduce the background a little bit. Here, V will get us out of text mode, and then with both of these selected, text and the background, I can go up to align and align layers with selection, and that centers it quickly. Yeah, that will work for me. All right. So we're gonna bring this on from below here, but we're gonna do it with parenting this time. So the first time I selected both the top and the bottom layers, created position keyframes, and that was all fine and dandy. But we want to practice parenting. It's really useful. So this is the beginning of the video. And maybe let me just bring this forward to where there's no black there. Okay. And I definitely don't need, okay, so I don't need the woman gardening. Oops, darn it, everything was selected. Don't need that. And then, okay, that's the video background. Okay, cool. So what was I doing? I'm an idiot. All right, sorry here. Negative self-speak. Don't mean that to be actually the case. Let me just, what I want is all this to be selected, Command A, and then Option, and then left bracket will chop these all off. Since they're all selected, I can just drag them over and hold Shift, and then they'll snap to the beginning. Totally not part of the lesson. Okay, let's animate. So this is the point we're going to reverse animate. This is the point where everything is already established. So we said 2 seconds. I am going to move this forward by 1 second by holding Command and arrow. All right, so Command and arrow will go through individual frames. And the other way to do it is page up, page down. That's the associated keyboard shortcut, what that icon looks like. So at 2 seconds, this lower third is established. So I'm going to say, I'm just going to do this to, let's do this to the text this time, just to vary things. I am going to say Option P, which opens position just like P would, but it automatically drops a keyframe as well. Okay, so I have the text keyframed, but there is no animation unless there are 2 keyframes from 2. You know, and so what I'm going to do is go back to the beginning, so to speak, before this comes on, and I don't know, we'll see if we need to push this somewhere else. We'll go to exactly 1 second. At that point, I'm going to drag this over to the right. Notice, by the way, my my anchor point here for this is on the outside if that mattered. If I was like rotating or something like that, I would change that. I'd probably sooner than later, but I don't think it matters here. Okay, so great. I have this little animation. And it's kind of cool that it rides slots into there, but honestly, not what I want. I want to have that text follow me. So that background follow me. So what I'm going to do is go to this layer and basically parent it. So I have this column here called parent and link. And the only reason I have that is because I turned it on. In columns, parent and link. Let me turn it off. This is what your timeline looks like more or less by default. Go up to the row on the very top where the buttons are, right click, columns, parent and link. Now you have this parent and link column. And what we're saying to this layer, orange solid 2, that it is going to be the child to our parent layer, Johnny Lightning, the text layer. So I can do that with a drop down box. Just the only choices here relate to whatever is in the timeline. But another cool way to do that is to grab this weird swirly thing called the pick whip and click that and drag that, and it becomes a little pointer. Drag that to the layer you want to be the parent. All right, so it's the same thing as pulling it from this list. It just looks cooler, and there's other things you can do with the pick whip. All right, let me see here. So it's okay, but it's offset because I started without. So let me undo that for a second and bring basically the text over the background. And now let's try this again with the pick whip. All right, now again, the parent layer is Johnny Lightning. And now they come in together and keep their position. So at the beginning it was offset a little bit. Now we're going to go from here. We're going to go 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000. That's more than enough. And I want to animate this off again. So what one method is, there's maybe 2 or 3 methods, is to grab your keyframes that brought it to the stage, very simply, copy them. I stop my playhead here. This is where I want it to go off. Paste. Right now, it's going to repeat the exact same motion here, meaning bring it onto the comp or onto the stage. I want it to be the other way around. I want it to go off of the stage. So you could just go to these 2 keyframes and choose time reverse keyframes. You won't see any change here directly, but what it's done is taken this keyframe, put it here, taken this keyframe, put it here, swap positions. And so now, come out, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000, 6,000, and go off. That's it. All right, now let's jazz this up a little bit more. What I'm going to do is bring this a little bit closer and have it not quite be just as long. Let me go into this animation, and we're going to jazz this up a little bit. We're going to these, and we're going to hit in the edit graph. Here's the linear animation, and I'm going to actually select this like that. And then I'm going to say, just show me my selection. So this is the first keyframe. And I'm going to make this go a little bit faster, like the first part. It doesn't have to be that much. Whatever that much is, just kind of relative to one another. But now you see a totally different speed of animation, then everything be the same speed. Let's see what that looks like. Let me go to about here, and I want to see if I can hit N and constrain just that beginning animation. Play this back. Okay, so it kind of speeds up a little bit. I can see it going a little bit slower. Come here, you. Where is it? Okay, I guess at the very beginning. There it is. I can see it going a little bit slower. No, not, well, actually a little bit faster at the beginning, but then faster in the middle, and then slowing more to position. So that's this slope should give us something like that. All right, let's see. So it comes in faster and then You know, it's a little hard with this part of the footage. I might do something like a slip edit over here because he's kind of wobbling around. But as far as my background, as far as my picture goes, it's what I want. So as far as my lower third goes, comes in faster and kind of slows. Oops, moving both of these guys. I just want to grab just this handle, make it a little bit more accentuated. All right, so Johnny on the spot, Johnny Lightning, same thing, whatever. Cool. And then going back here. All right, so that's my first one, animate on. And then we're going to, I'm actually going to see if I can do the same thing. I'm going to do minus, minus, just the minus key on the top to do this. And then let's see if I can do this over here. Get these two, oops, get these two, copy, and then let's go to the next keyframe from here, K, right, because it's JK. I'm going to select these two and actually delete them and replace with these eased ones and swap them out. Swap out, time reverse their position. All right, let's see what happens. Sometimes there's weird artifacting and things you don't account for, but this looks like it's working. Jing, slides in, oops. Stretch out this work area here, or hit N at the end of it. Slide 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, shoom, and then go off. Cool. That works for me. I like that. I'm going to take both of these as a template, so to speak. Command D, duplicate them. They are selected here. I'm going to bring them down below to kind of separate them out. Let's see, take a look at both of them. They should be both there. I want the keyframes. Where are the keyframes? Let me see. U will show me the keyframes. So the keyframes are on the orange, no, on the text. And I want the text to be different, and I want the positions to be different. So what I will do, I think, just wondering if I should get rid of all the, I think I'll get rid of it all. So since position keyframes, I can't just move it around. I could go, maybe I can select all these guys and then see if I can move this down. Yeah, if I select all the keyframes at once, then it should, move it horizontally down, which is what I want, because this is supposed to be my, template. And I'll actually do that with this one too, because I don't have enough room below. So I'm going to go up a little bit. Oh, see, that's what I wanted to avoid. Let's see if I can do it this way. Okay, now they're all moving, keeping their position. All right, so we've changed the whole vertical area a little bit. I just want to attack the bottom ones right now. If I go to the middle, I should see both of them. So I'm going to select all of these keyframes and reposition, but I might have to be, see, I can't be just somewhere. I have to be on one of my keyframes. So if I'm here, I should be able to go up and it will bring everything up. And then I should be able to go down a little bit and then back a little bit. Okay, cool. All right, so we have control for this. Now we're going to change the text. Text of number 2, Command T, select everything. Let's come down here and do 56 just to make it smaller and saying investigative reporter. And then maybe for this one, we'll change the font. I think there's OCR, so that, something like this is kind of what I'm looking for. This one's probably too big, but let's see if we just bring it smaller, to give it a different feel, more like label maker kind of feel. I'm still not really crazy about it. You got to be a little bit careful with things like stretching, like here, if I do vertical orientation like this kind of works actually, even though it's stretched. But generally you want to be really careful with changing fonts you know, from what they were by default. Not that you can't be creative, but you don't want to screw it up. But that works for me actually. And I'm going to the orange solid 2 on the bottom one to change its color. And so let's just do a gray again and just see what that looks like. Okay, a little bit boring. What if we have like a white gray or something like that? Yeah, that works. Okay, okay. And then the top one, I'm going to bring back the opacity by hitting T, this one, and bring it a little bit more orange. Yeah, cool. Okay. All right. So just these 2 layers, that's fine for me. And right now, shoom, they come in together. And then he's like, whoa, what's up? And then shoom, they go away. All right. So that's all fine and dandy, but I don't really want to have them come in together. So what we're going to do is select everything, maybe not the bottom layer. Doesn't really matter. Hit U. Now you see the keyframes. The other layers don't have keyframes because they are parented. So like here. So I want this one, this lower layer, to lag behind a little bit. So since all of the keyframes are selected, all I have to do is grab one of the keyframes and I can bring it over. And now how far am I bringing it over by? Probably about, 5 frames. It might be too much, but that's so this should come first, chung chung, and then it follows, and then he's there, and shung shung. Cool, that works for me. Good enough for this demo, definitely. All right, right click on this top bar that defines this, and I can say trim comp to work area. Boom. All right, so now this comp is, how long is this? Let me just go to the end of it. It is 8 seconds and 19 frames. This is one of 3 variations. I want you to work with the various variations. It can be color. Here you saw me do font, font weighting. With font weight, I mean, like for example, this can be pushed to be faux bold. And let me bring it down a little bit just so it fits in there, and aligned. Oops. I want to align to selection, but I only have one thing selected. That's why it's not working. Okay. Align to selection. Pew. Okay, cool. So, this is 2 of many different kinds of variations that you can do. Animation would be one that comes to mind. The various kind of properties. Don't go too crazy, but definitely, experiment with stuff and don't be too, buttoned down either about this. All right, so maybe a last thing here that we could introduce easily that would give it a little bit more pizzazz is, because it's in motion, we can actually add a little bit of kind of naturalistic, creme de la creme, like whipped cream to the top of this by making these layers, the background layer and the text layer, react to motion blur. Motion blur is when things blur when they're moving. And you can make that more extreme or not. This is something that's processor intensive, so you only want to turn it on at the end. But with these 2 layers selected and this column right here, here's motion blur, click in it. So now it's turned on, and I guess it automatically turned it on. You can see it be on or off just by the blur that's happening there. So cool. Let's bring this motion blur thing in. You don't see it necessarily. It's subtle. When it's moving, you'll see it maybe a little bit, and that's all fine. Same thing here. I'm gonna motion blur these suckers, and then we got it all. Cool. Let's export this thing. This is one example. I did want to take a look at grouping these, so I'll do that again. Hang on, I need my project panel. Where the hell? Okay, there it is. All right, so here's my project panel. This is lower third number 2. So let me just make this actually go back here to the master lower thirds. Here I'll do master lower thirds again. Same comp settings, master lower thirds all, just so it has a different name. There's nothing in here right now, and I'm going to take lower third number 1, drop it in here. cut it off at the right side. Why is it not? Okay, I guess this doesn't have, okay, that was the animation off. Shoop. Okay, this is good. And you don't need to know the shortcuts yet, but it's Option right bracket to do an out point basically. And that should just be fine and dandy. Here's this lower third 2, and I'll have it start just a fraction, a little bit later. And then this lower third number 3, and I'm just putting it roughly where I want it after lower third 2. All right, and so here we have these 3. 2 of them have, let's go here. 2 of them have the forgot what I was going to say. 2 of them have the background in there. 1 of them doesn't. 1 of them has the background in there. 2 of them don't. So I'm going to make them have the background right now by going into them. So this is the new master comp, master lower thirds all. And here's just the, what we did in class without the background turned on. So to get into this comp, this is just a normal comp, but it's nested inside of this master lower thirds all comp. All you do is just double click, and that opens up the corresponding comp. In this case, just turning it on in the background and going back here. All right, have it on here, have it on here, and then this one, double clicking, turning it on, have it on here. All right, so first export, and then I've got to be done here because I got to go to a meeting right now. Oh, it's already started. I guess I got to get on that quickly. So export, add to render queue, add to media encoder queue, because this media encoder will do your H.264 that we're going to use to preview what you have in class. And I will also do, as this is running, I will also do the export to render queue and do the lossless. But for that, I do have to turn off the background. So I do want to kind of make sure that that has worked out. Let me just text them. Text my meeting folks and let them know. All right. Oh, whatever. Yeah, there's these great deals that you can get with Red Giant, an amazing FX house here in. They're from San Francisco. They're not an FX house. They basically publish and create. They're a developer that makes software plugins for Premiere, After Effects, Final Cut 10, and Resolve, and all sorts of things. They're probably the biggest one out there, and they have free student licenses or very low cost. I think it's like $3 for a half a year or something like that. You should check that out. Red Giant, redgiant.com/education. All right, come on. Why did you not send this to Media Encoder? You just make sure my share is seeing this. Yep, cool. All right. Did it update? All right, fine. I'm going to send this again. Here we go. I'm going to do this again because it didn't pop up in Media Encoder. I'm sure it will. Once I do this, we'll have 2 in there. But I said send to, let me see the exact language, export, add to Adobe Media Encoder queue. All right, and let me see that that's in there. Yeah, what was this then? See, there's 2. I knew it. Okay, so it takes a while to make that link. I'm just going to delete one of them. Let me make sure I know where this is going. Click on the output file, and this should go to your exports. Lower thirds 3 class demo. I'll just do demo. Cool. This is the MP4, has all 3 variations in it, and some of them are different fonts, different sizes, etc. This is going to be an MP4. This will have H.264 as codec inside it, and go and hit the play button on Media Encoder. All right. While this is exporting, I believe we can already start in this. I want to go back here to my master lower thirds all and just turn off the background. So I just have transparency. So I'm going to go to this one here, first one, and double click. All right, and turn off background. Done. Go back to my master here, go to the second one, double click, and turn off the background. And go back here and double click. Holly Golightly again. Not Holly, actually. In this case, it's Heather. Cool. And go back. And by the way, this little button here is transparency. So if you're seeing black, hit this button to see whether or not it's transparent. Cool. So I turned off the backgrounds in all of them, and now I have to do a lossless with transparency export, and then I'm done. So to do that with these three in here, with master lower thirds all as the active comp, export, add to render queue. The preset that I want is this one here, not this lossless, because I need transparency also. I don't need just lossless quality of the codec. I need specifically a alpha channel, a transparency channel turned on. Go away. So we're going to click on this downward arrow and choose lossless with alpha. Should come by default. If you don't see that, if you're on a PC, it's different or whatever, then let me know right away. Output 2, same thing. I have to make sure that I have the place where I know this is going, and I believe this is the same folder, but I had 2 folders, so I'm not quite sure. It is the same. Let's see, just media encode. Are you done? Yeah. Which one did it put it into? Okay. All right, fine. But you get the idea. So I think I could do this. Sorry, all these windows are. So this is asking me, what do you want to call it? Where do you want to put it? Actually, it's going to go in here. And here's exports. And I want to call it the same thing as I call this one, lower third 3 demo. But I also want to add in caps alpha, so I know which one is which. Actually, not that hard to know. All right, save and hit render, and we are done. Thank you, guys. I'm just going to let this render, and I got to get to my meeting. So I'll talk to you soon. I'll come back with a final video on delivery. Awesome. Bye.